A terrifying avalanche occurred on this day in 1910, killing 96 people, leaving only 23 survivors. Welcome to Natural Disaster Network. Today we'll be talking about the 1910 Wellington avalanche, and we'll be interviewing a survivor's grandson, William Wilson, and he will be telling us about his grandfather's story.
Hello everybody, I am Thomas D. Train, and today we are going to be interviewing William Wilson for the Natural Disaster Network.
Alright, mister, question away.
Well, how did the avalanche affect your grandfather?
Well, my grandfather could have died, and he almost did, but him and 22 others made their way to Wellington. He then realized that, if he stayed on the train, he most definitely would have been killed or very severely injured, and I wouldn't even be here today. He learned that you have to be responsible and be the hero sometimes, and don't just cower away in the shadows. He always lived by that.
Well, do you think an avalanche like this could happen again in Wellington?
I'm not much of a man of science, but since there's nobody living in there, I doubt it'll ever happen again or even be recorded, for that matter.
Well, how old was your grandfather when this disaster happened?
My grandfather was 23 years old at the time. He was living at the prime of his life, and if he was still alive right now, he'd be 126 years old. But he had a heart attack when he was young. He was just a young cowboy traveling to buy a horse, an amazing racing horse. Very, very cheap price, too. But the deal was stolen by some mystery man that just swooped in and took the horse for buyout.
Why was your grandfather unable to buy the horse?
Well, he was stuck in Wellington because of the avalanche. It just stopped all means of transportation, and he couldn't get out there without help, which took a long time, and that guy got there before he did. Took the horse. The avalanche, the snow went directly into the canyon, filling it up. When the snow melted, there would be a large amount of runoff, excess water, that would either flood the canyon or be absorbed into the ground, creating a lot of excess groundwater.
What caused the avalanche?
The avalanche was caused by lightning strike. That's all I really know.
Well, nowadays, avalanches can be caused by the slopes being warmer and slippier from the ice melting. And the reason that is happening because of greenhouse gases being released into the air, like methane and carbon dioxide, from everyday appliances we use, like cars. Well, I also realized that Washington is in the way of the westerlies. The westerlies are the wind coming from the west to the east. So I see that that's the reason why Washington would get a lot of precipitation and why it would usually rain. But since in 1910 there was a lot less greenhouse gases, heavy snow would be quite common, wouldn't it?
I would think so.
Yes. So Washington is also near a jet stream, isn't it? Which is a humongous fast wind throughout the sky, which would bring a lot of heavy snow, wouldn't it?
That is very true.
Yes. In this interview, William, do you think anyone was positively impacted by this avalanche?
Well, the only person or people, corporation, more to speak of that, would ever be impacted well is rivals to the Great Northern Railway. Because the Great Northern Railway was the train company. The Great Northern Railway, their railroad goes all across the top of the United States. And that being blocked off probably lost them a lot of money and time for transportation through Washington to get to Seattle or from Seattle. But different train companies that are around there, like maybe Canadian companies around Toronto, go all the way down the bottom of it. I don't know if there is one there, but it seems like they would be the only one to actually profit because of all this 96 deaths in only 23 surviving that large train for the time. It all seems very insane to me that anybody else would be actually impacted.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us on the Natural Disaster Network, and this is Thomas D. Train signing off.